And the Giants really just the way they've done things the last few years have really rubbed me the wrong way. And I've spoken about this a lot of times, how they kept Eli Manning at quarterback years and years past the time that they should have got rid of him. They allowed Eli to run the team into the ground, and while he was doing that, everybody made excuses for him and blamed everyone else that was a part of the organization but him, his teammates, okay, offensive line, the running backs, the receivers, the head coach. Everybody got fired around him, everybody, but this guy, and he was the biggest problem, and the team had 10 years, almost a decade of just losing. The worst football team in the league were the Giants with this guy for the last few years. Eli was the quarterback, okay? So they refused. So to me at that time, the Giants they were more concerned about Eli's feelings than actually winning. So that really turned me off, right? Then they go and draft Eli's young pal, Daniel Jones, who had a strong Eli Manning connection. Daniel Jones, head coach at Duke University, was the same guy who was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee in college for Peyton Manning, and he was Eli Manning's head coach at Mississippi at Ole Miss when Eli was in college, okay? And this kid, Daniel Jones as a kid went to Eli and Peyton's summer camps and all that. Okay, great. So this is the guy who the Giants decided to draft when he finally get Eli Manning out of the picture. And you know what? I wanted Eli Manning gone at that time so bad that I was actually happy to see Daniel Jones. Because you know what? When I saw Daniel Jones, the one thing I did see when they would show his highlights was he could run. He could run. He had legs. He was not as stiff. Eli Manning could not run at all. Everybody knows that. He was a statue in the pocket. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous. And the excuse, the narrative with the Giants was always, oh, Eli's great, but the line is not good, so he has no time to throw, and that's why Eli, is not playing better. It was all nonsense. It was all crap, garbage nonsense. So I was happy to see a quarterback with legs who could move, and I gave Daniel Jones a chance. I really thought that he had something and could do something. The first game that Daniel Jones played, week 3 in 2019 against Tampa, Daniel Jones played great, but you know what the problem was? It was the best game Daniel Jones ever played as a Giant, okay? He has not had a game as good since then, all right? And so that day, when I saw him play like that, his first game, I thought, okay, well, the Giants might have something here. If he can play like this, the Giants can be a good team a lot faster than what I expected, and they could have something. But, of course, he didn't, all right? And so, like, the next 2 years after that, you saw the talent, you saw his potential, you said, okay, he has talent, so he could be something. I believed in him, all right? I said that before. Over those 2 or 3 years, I see his talent. I believe in him. But you know what? His best season was his first year, okay? All right, by far. Then years 2 and 3, he does next to nothing and all this. So then last year, they bring him back, new coaching staff, all that. He has a solid year, even though he only throws 15 touchdown passes, okay? Which is not that good at all for a quarterback. But the excuse was always, oh, Daniel Jones, the Giants receivers aren't that good. Daniel Jones has nothing, so that's why he only had 15 touchdown passes. He's really good, all this crap. And at the same time, when we're talking about some really good quarterbacks who happen to be black, Lamar Jackson, all you hear from people with Lamar Jackson is, oh, Lamar Jackson is not that good of a thrower. He's not that good of a pocket passer. He has to improve on his passing. All this nonsense, but yet Lamar Jackson actually led the entire NFL in touchdown passes, okay, 1 year, all right? I'll say it again. Lamar Jackson, who people always want to tell you that he needs to improve on his passing and all this, and he can't pass that well, all this garbage, Lamar Jackson has led the NFL in touchdown passes before. In 2019, when he won league MVP, and guess what else he also did? He had the highest QBR rating in the whole NFL amongst all the passers, and this includes Pat Mahomes and all of them, all right? Yet, and Lamar Jackson did all that with less weapons than what Daniel Jones had last year. I'm going to say it again. Lamar Jackson in 2019, when he led the entire NFL in touchdown passes, had less around him, less quote-unquote weapons than what Daniel Jones had last season, okay? Yet, the media here in New York, all right, most of the media here in New York, I hear all the time last year, oh, Eli Manning had 15 touchdown passes. Daniel Jones had 15 touchdown passes, but you know what? It's because he has no weapons. Nonsense. Lamar Jackson had less. Because you know what? At least Daniel Jones had Saqoun Barkley last year, and Lamar Jackson has never had a player with him as good as Saqoun Barkley. Now, Saqoun Barkley, which is why we are talking Giants right now, okay? Saqoun Barkley right now, the Giants have not given him the money that he wants, and he will not be a part of the Giants training camp, at least to begin, all right? And you know what? All these guys make ridiculous money, so you really can't feel sorry for any of these guys, all right? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying what's right is right, and if you are Saqoun Barkley, okay, there's no way that you can be cool with this. And the one thing about the NFL that is crazy is that these teams, they try and slot running backs into these salary caps where, okay, a running back, we can only pay a running back this amount of money, which is nothing compared to what these owners and teams are paying other players at other positions, okay? All right, so Saqoun Barkley, to me, is the best, most important player on the Giants roster, okay? Period. So you would think that that being the case, he would get paid the most on the team, but he's not getting anywhere close to that. And it's because of politics and the way everybody, all right, the quarterback, if you're a quarterback, then of course the quarterback gets paid more than anybody on the team, especially if you're a great quarterback. Yes, you should get paid more than anybody because the quarterback is the most important position on the field. If you have a great quarterback, your team is going to be in the best position to win football games, in the best position to compete for a championship. But in the Giants' case, in Daniel Jones' case, he ain't that guy, okay? And if you are one of those guys, you deserve and have to get paid an astronomical number and get paid more than anybody. That's fine. We understand that, right? We understand that if you are that guy. Daniel Jones is not that guy. The Giants are paying Daniel Jones like he is that guy, and that's the problem. So the Giants just agreed to a contract with Daniel Jones this past offseason, which I believe he'll be making about $40 million per season. So Daniel Jones last year, after having like 3 at best below average years before last year, all right, at best below average years before last year, all right, he has 1 mediocre year last year, in large part to Saqoun Barkley, all right, and there's no Giants fan out there who believes that. The Giants, one, would have been as successful last year without Saqoun Barkley, who played every game last year. 2, there's not a Giants fan out there who believes the Giants will be good this year without Saqoun Barkley. And 3, there's not one Giants fan out there who believes that Daniel Jones will have a big season this year without Saqoun Barkley with them. So, like, what are we doing here? All right? And this is something that it can't fly. When we look at the Giants, again, they're paying Daniel Jones $40 million a year, right? Off a mediocre year, they gave him that money. They also gave defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence about a $95 million contract over 6 years. So, and right now they're trying to pay Saqoun Barkley $10 million a year, which is crazy. If you are Saqoun Barkley, how can you be cool with Daniel Jones making 4 times as much as you are when without him, without Saqoun Barkley, Daniel Jones probably cannot even function, all right? Everyone understands this, okay? So, like, why can't the Giants Why can't the Giants give Saqoun Barkley what he is worth? Why can't they give him what he is worth when you look at his value and worth to the team? His value and worth to the team is as much as anybody who they have right now. It's as much as Daniel Jones and as much as Dexter Lawrence. And so it's just, to me, it's just unfair and it's wrong. And Saqoun Barkley is the kind of guy who, he's a great guy. He is the perfect face of your organization. So he's definitely the guy who you shouldn't even have a problem giving him the money. He's not even asking for a whole lot more than what the Giants are asking and trying to offer him. Saqoun Barkley is asking for about $2 million more than what the Giants are offering, and the Giants cannot give him that. And even if he takes that, even if Saqoun Barkley is making like $12 million a year, to me it's still an insult when you look at how much they're paying Daniel Jones. All right, it's crazy. So now, if Saqoun, but like I said, the most a running back is making right now per year, I believe, is Christian McCaffrey with San Francisco. He's making, I think, $16 million a year. But it's crazy because people try and act like, oh, all running backs are interchangeable and all this and disposable and all this stuff, all this nonsense. Not the great ones. Not the great ones who are difference makers and can be the reason why your team is competitive and why they have a chance to win, which is what Saqoun Barkley is. Definitely what Derrick Henry is in Tennessee. I've got to check out Derrick Henry's contract, but Derrick Henry is the reason why first and foremost why anybody would think that Tennessee is a championship contender. It's because of that running back, Derrick Henry, a beast. Okay, it's not the quarterback Ryan Tannehill. It's nothing else. All right, why people look at Tennessee now that they just added a good wide receiver in Hopkins after they lost A.J. Brown, and people look at Tennessee, who have been good for the last few years. They've been one of the top teams, and it starts with the running back, Derrick Henry. So the Giants, they need to give Saqoun Barkley, pay him comparable to his value to the team, compared to all his teammates. If you are the best player, most important player on the team, then how are you going to pay so many guys so much more money? Like, that's the issue that I have with the Giants. And so I blame the Giants organization for the fact that Saqoun Barkley is not in camp right now or going to report to camp. And Saqoun Barkley, because a lot of people expect Saqoun to eventually show up and start playing, because if he does not, then he's going to lose money because he's not going to get paid if he does not play games. And if Saqoun does not play and the Giants season starts off and the Giants are not winning games, and also another key aspect about the Giants this season that's going to be a lot tougher than last year is their schedule this year is going to be a lot more difficult. Okay, last year they had a cupcake schedule. You get cupcake schedules, folks, when you've been bad for years. And the Giants had been bad for years before last year, so they had an easy schedule, and they ended up having enough wins to make the playoffs, all right? But let's see how the Giants fare this year with a tougher schedule without Saqoun Barkley, and let's see what Daniel Jones does, okay? All right? I'm already telling you, it will go up in flames if that happens. So if Giants management cannot see the importance in bringing Saqoun in now and giving him what he wants, which is not too much, not that much more than what the Giants are trying to offer him, all right? Saqoun's not even asking for that much more, and you Giants are being so petty right now, pinching pennies so much where they can't. And again, as much as Aaron Judge is the face and a great face, the perfect face for your franchise if you're the Yankees, Saqoun Barkley is the same for the Giants. Both of them are great players. Both are great mannered dudes who do not embarrass you off the field, who are wholesome, perfect faces for your franchise. And the Giants right now are messing around with Saqoun Barkley. So shame on the Giants organization. I'm going to tell them one thing right now. Their general manager, Joe Shane, all right, I'm going to tell you right now, Joe Shane, and head coach Brian Daboll, all right, Brian Daboll, maybe he should not get included in this because he's not the one who you would think is dealing with the contract negotiations. But let me tell you something, guys. Right now, after last year,